Hi everyone, welcome to the podcast. P is for Plog. This is my weekly-ish kind of thing podcast where I talk about my life as a professional plogger, where I'm trying to make a career from running around picking up trash. We've got a fun one now. After the last episode, I needed to just get last episode out, just say it, just put it on record, bang, move on. And that's exactly what this one is. Back to the positivity, back to some fun stories, and this one's a really fun one. This is season 2, episode 21. P is for paper cup. Let's get going.
Plug it and tag it and post it and bin it. Plug it and tag it and post it and bin it.
Okay, so one final reference to the last episode. Sorry, I had to just say it. I had to get off my chest and just sort of, in effect, just provide a bit of a therapy session for myself. We're back to normal now. We've got a great one. I've actually got notes. I'm so excited. I've actually got notes. I don't normally do that. I normally just sort of say whatever comes into my head, which is ramblings. Got a bit of a script. P is for paper cups. What's all this about? Well, I have to get a P word in, so it's paper cups. It should have been P is for the Dam to Dam collaboration with Le Champion, the organization behind the Dam to Dam Loop, which is a really big event here in the Netherlands. So, but it didn't fit into a P word, so I went with paper cup. But it does have a reason because of the thing I was carrying on my back. This one is going to be quite visual. So if you can, I would watch it on YouTube visually. I think on Spotify you can also see the video because I do the video there, but it's definitely worth watching because you can see clips throughout the episode of me just talking about it. In effect, it's more of a vlog than a podcast, but I'm putting it in the podcast area just because it's easier, because I want to talk about it rather than just do a visual sort of recap of how it went. So this is all about a collab that I just did a couple of weeks ago with Le Champion. So Le Champion are one of the big race organizers here in the Netherlands. So they do my favorite race of the year, which is Egmond. They also do Amsterdam Marathon, Dam to Dam. So they do quite a few events, really big company. And yeah, I've been hoping to do a collab with an organization like this, in a full-on collab, not just give me a free entry and then I'll do something fun. This is a full-on collab where I had to do a proposal. We had meetings. We talked about it that way. And I just want to run through what happened, how it went, and what my experiences about it was. So for those that don't know what Dam to Dam is, it's Amsterdam to Zaandam. So Dam to Dam. It's a 16 kilometer, so 10 English miles run that has been going on for, I don't know how long, but for a very long time. When I first moved here, it was one of the first events I did. So back in, I think, 2001, 2002, I did my first one, and I did it for quite a few years. It's very famous for being a business run. So you have a lot of companies that do it. So I did it with the company I was working for then in Singer de Beaufort. So I did it for quite a few years. And in fact, there was one year it was so hot. This is so long ago that we had cotton t-shirts to run in, and it was so hot I was just not able to breathe, and so I actually had to run topless for most of the race. It was not a fun event. I've had to do that twice in my life. Never do cotton shirts while running, especially when you're a little bit larger. I've got some stories about that, but I'm not going to talk about it. So Dam to Dam was a really big thing. I stopped doing it, and I'm going to be really honest here. I stopped doing it, I think, around 2007, something like 2008. I'm not sure exactly when, but I stopped doing it because it was then an awful event if you wanted to run it properly. The reason being is it was so busy, so crowded, and they had so many waves that were trying to sort of go on these small paths that you just couldn't run the speed you wanted to. It was just impossible. So I just stopped doing it. It just wasn't fun for me as a runner. Huge change. I'm just going to say it straight off now. The difference between then and now, I know that some people say, oh, it's just too busy. No, it really is not. It's really organized really well. And that kind of shocked me. I was really happy to do this collab, but at the same time, I was like, no, I don't really want to do Dam to Dam. But now I do. Now I'm looking forward to next year to do it because it is so well organized. What basically they've spread out the start waves throughout the whole day. So it's not just condensed into a small, tight time frame. They really separate it out, gives everyone room to run at the speed they want to. With it literally within 5 minutes of me going over the start line, I was running at the pace I wanted to, and continued that way all the way throughout on both runs. So I ended up doing 32 kilometers. But so definitely check out Dam to Dam if you don't know. I suspect most of the people listening do know what it is. Anyway, so how did it all come together? How did this sort of dream collab that I've been really wanting to do and really excited to do? Well, one of my sponsors, Corona Lobby, they're working with the organisation Le Champion, and they kind of said, look, this is something for you. This would really fit well within your goals, your mission to do. We are going to be, so the Corona Lobby are going to be there in terms of doing some cleanups, as well as doing some of the water stations, sort of organising those, making sure everyone's doing, sort of trying to be as sort of good with the cups as they can, making sure when they put them in the bin. So they're really sort of focused on that. And they're going to be doing it for Amsterdam Marathon and also for Dam to Dam. So they reached out to me and said, look, this is just perfect for you. We know that you want to do it. Let's get you in contact. So through them, I managed to get in contact with Champion. They know about me anyway through sort of the things I've done at Egmond. I think I did reach out to them with Egmond and things, and it was quite interesting. You can sort of see how as an organization, they're like, okay, where's he going with it? Where's he going to sort of take this? So the first time that I did something crazy was actually in Egmond. I had my banana suit, and what I wanted to do was run it twice. So already I'm sort of going into sort of dangerous territory for this company, for this organization. Like, you want to run it twice, Egmond? It's like this tough half marathon. So how are you going to do it? So what I wanted to do is run it twice in a banana suit, and the second time picking up trash. So then I can understand it. They were like going, oh God, he's going to be picking up trash. He's going to be just sort of calling out the organization for, all this trash that gets left behind through these runners and this race. And I didn't want to do that. For me, it's all about a positive message. I want to say, look, as runners, let's be more responsible. Let's be more careful. So that was my focus. It was always on runners, but as an organization, I can understand that they were a bit nervous. But I did the race, and what was amazing was how clean it was on the second lap. So I started after basically the last runner had gone. So it was just me running on my own, but already the volunteers had cleaned up amazingly. Okay, this is amazing. So clearly the organisation have cleared up all the gel wrappers here. So I'm wondering how many I'm going to find. But it was literally every couple of meters there was a gel packet, and there's nothing on the ground now. They've done an amazing job. So hats off to them. This is a perfect plog where you see that people have tidied up after people. There shouldn't be gel packets on the ground, but the organisation has done a good job. But we've got to change the behaviour of the runners, because it's just not on just dropping gel packets in this. It is kind of shocking to see how many gel wrappers get thrown by runners. If you're a runner, you know this. If you've ever seen a running race, you know this. Runners just on a race, they're just so they just think they have the right to drop stuff, and I want to sort of change that, encourage people to change it. Not everyone's like that, but a lot of them are. And I was amazed at doing Egmond on that second lap, just seeing how clean it was. The volunteers had literally just collected the hundreds of gel wrappers that were sort of scattered everywhere, to the point where I ran the 21 kilometers, and I think I got around 20 gel wrappers that were sort of just in really weird places, that just in the middle of nowhere. And that's what I wanted to sort of just call out, is that runners, we need to be better. We need to be more responsible. So the organization were fantastic. And I think after seeing that and saw that I was doing a positive message, and it also gave a positive message to the organization, luckily, was they were a bit more enthusiastic. So they've known about me for a while. So they set up this meeting. We had this meeting, and I said, look, this is my idea. And it was actually just for Amsterdam Marathon. I had a meeting because I'd already got this idea of, I want to try and encourage runners to be more responsible with their gel wrappers. That was what my plan was for sort of the start of the year. After doing Egmond in January, I was like, okay, my focus for Amsterdam is going to be, let's try and get people to be more responsible with their gel wrappers. Coincidentally, that's exactly what the organization wanted to do as well with Amsterdam. So it was just a perfect sort of coming together. I want to do this. And they were like, we also want to do this. How can we do this? What can we do together? So I said, yeah, my idea is to run with a giant bin on my back in a banana suit and just get people to throw their gel wrappers in my rucksack. I'd done that with an event in Sunfort in a race suit, and it was worked really well. So I was like, "Again, this is perfect for Amsterdam." So that was my idea, and they went, and then we sort of talked about it, and we're like, "Yeah, well, that's exactly what we want to do. How can we sort of do it better?" And then they went, "We also want you to do Dam to Dam." So that's how I got to do this race as well. So I'm not going to talk too much about Amsterdam. I'm going to switch now to Dam to Dam, because Amsterdam is still happening. I'm doing something, but let's focus on Dam to Dam now. So we were talking about it, and I said, "Oh, right. So what's your focus for Dam to Dam?" So Dam to Dam, their focus was to make sure that people were more responsible with their paper cups. If you look at trail races and you look at triathlons, triathlons especially, there's a feed zone, and then they've got a trash zone. If you litter outside of that designated area where you can drop your trash on the bike, you will get penalized heavily. You could even be disqualified. That doesn't happen for runners. Maybe because just the sheer volume in things like marathon races and these sort of road races we have here, there's just so many runners, you can't police it. But really, we should be, as runners, be responsible for, in effect, doing exactly what triathletes do and what trail runners do, making sure that we help the organization. I don't have an issue with you dropping your paper cup on the ground. I have an issue with you dropping your paper cup a kilometre after that water station and then throwing it in the river or in the bush where it can't be seen and there's no chance the organization have got of picking up. That was sort of my focus. So we were talking about it. Okay, how can we sort of look at these water stations, make sure that people put their paper cups into the bins as much as they can, or at least only keep it within that area. So together we came up with the idea of, okay, if I had a giant paper cup on my back. So I submitted the proposal. They loved the banana suit, but they went, okay, now let's focus on the paper cup. So the proposal was that I'd make a giant paper cup on my, instead of a rucksack, turn it into a giant paper cup. And then on there, it's going to be, put it in the bin. Don't put it on the ground. So that was sort of the idea. And then I said, okay, I can run this 2 or 3 times. How many times do you want to do it? So I think they went, oh, let's just keep it to 2. I was initially saying, I'll do it 3 if you want. So the idea was that I would run it twice. And because it spread out the start times, it is possible you can do sort of the first one. So we said, right, let's start off at 9:30 in the morning, and you get that run done. You've got time to come back because it's an A to B race. It doesn't end up at the same point. It's from Amsterdam to Zaandam, which is sort of 16 kilometers away. So then you just get on the train, come back, and then I could run it again. So that was the idea. And then I would do the next one at 1 o'clock-ish. Perfect. I wouldn't use a banana suit. Let's not focus on me, which I was actually kind of glad in the end. In the end, it became the story about the paper cups. It's not about me doing something. It's about me doing a collab with this organization to encourage change in people's behaviors. So I was quite happy. And in fact, I think relieved in the end that it wasn't going to be in the banana suit. It was just going to be focused on the giant paper cup on my back, and with a message on it of put your paper cups in the bin. Hopefully in the bin, to mean that the volunteers, remember, volunteers are doing this, don't have to clean up so much. And so we didn't go with the banana suit. Instead, focus on this paper cup with the strong message on it. And then what I'd do is at each water station, I'd stop for 5 minutes and then just encourage people to put their cups in my giant paper cup, or to at least put them in the bin, and just to sort of activate people. So that was the idea, and do it twice. Fantastic. then they came in and said, do you want to do the start gun as well? I'll talk about that in a second. But they actually said, okay, you can do the starter gun as well for your second wave. So for that second wave, I did the starter's pistol, which was amazing. Like, I did a bucket list item. So I did the starter's gun for this huge event, for this start wave that I was in. And I had to run down the steps and then just join them as well, which went really smoothly. But we'll talk about that when I come to the race itself. So I've got the proposal done. I said, oh, I'll make it all myself. And now I get into making the costume. I went straight into panic mode. So I was just so nervous. The reason being is because this is my first full-on collab with an organization like this. If I nail this, I can use this to say to other race organizations, to other events, look, this is what I can do. Suddenly the pressure's on to make something professional. The pressure's on to make something that is really good, that I can sort of proudly say, look, I am a professional at doing this. I'm not just a guy making up these sort of awful suits that I think, a bit amateurish, but have a strong message behind them. So I'm in complete panic mode. I've got to make something that isn't just sort of like arts and crafts. It's actually a professional design. And I've said, and I said to them, look, we can get this made professionally. Yeah, I think this is probably around the price of it. And then I said, I could do it myself and I'll charge this. And then they went, yeah, okay, do that. I'm like, oh no, I've undercharged. So luckily they let me put up the price a little bit. I had this costume to make and I was like, how do I make a paper cup? Because a paper cup, the trouble with paper cup is they're like not straight up. It's not like this great shape. So I was like in sheer panic mode going, what the heck can I do? I was talking to a few people about this. I was looking at how people did cosplay costumes and things. I was looking at maybe getting some of those foams and everything and trying to make it, because it's also, you've got to think about it. It's a paper cup, but it doesn't have to just look like a paper cup. It's got to survive running 2 times 16 kilometers, going through the train and everything. So it's got to survive basically the equivalent of a marathon, really, in terms of the sort of use and abuse of running and then bustling through places. And it's also got to be strong enough that you can put trash in it, that it doesn't just sort of get all soggy and collapse. So it has to be solid construction. It has to be light enough to run in. I was just in full-on panic mode. And Bert knows this because I was messaging him throughout the day. So I was like, okay, right, I've got to try and figure out how I can do it. Hopefully I can just go to the cosplay thing. I was like, okay, I probably have to do that. I don't really want to do it because it's going to take hours to make. I need something that's going to be a little bit sort of, it's almost sort of, I can use this and make it look like a paper cup. So I went to the DIY store here and I found 2 great big plastic buckets that were the perfect shape. I'll actually show on the screen now. I did a photo and sent this to Bert, say, look, this is it. And it was like a great shape. It was like a giant cup, maybe 75 centimeters or something along those lines. I was like, and this is it. This is what perfect. If I just sort of glue these 2 together, I can sort of make it look like a paper cup. We thought we had it sorted. It just wasn't. It just was missing something. There was just something that wasn't quite. It just wasn't impactful enough. It was like it was like the remit, a giant cup, but it wasn't a giant cup. It wasn't like this huge eye catcher. It wasn't like boom in your face. And that's what I wanted. I wanted a boom in your face. So I was like, oh, I'll probably have to do this, but it's okay. Walking around at the DIY store, this was Collab, for those that sort of know the Dutch one. So I was just walking around there and I came across I was like thinking, what about a rain, sort of a rain barrel, sort of a water barrel, something along those lines. I know it's not the right shape, but is there something? And I came across in the corner on its own, literally just walking there, this composter. It looked like a sort of a beehive type thing. It looked like and I'll just sort of show you a picture of what it's like in the advert. So I saw this. It was huge, 220 litres. So it's massive. It's got that wow factor. It's not quite straight and it's green. So I turn it upside down. It's light enough. It's perfect. It's solid. is it going to be okay with the wavy bits? Because the paper cups are actually straight. I was like thinking, okay, I think this is so close to it. I've got to go with it. So I sent pictures to Bert, and he was like enthusiastic. Then I bumped into the owner of Chronolobby, his mother, and I was just chatting to him. So yeah, the people that got me involved in this whole thing, I was just chatting to his mother. I didn't even know it was his mother. We were just chatting because I was in my banana suit, in just coincidentally, as you do in the DIY store. I'm rambling. Anyway, let's get back to this. I thought, this is it. This is perfect. I'm going to do this. I'll sort of come back and buy it. I'll just make sure that the organisation think it's good. So I sort of sent it to them. They liked it and said, if this is white, if I can paint this, then it's white. I'm like thinking, how do I paint it? I'm Googling it, and they're going, this plastic is made from recycled plastic as well. This plastic is really difficult to spray. This is what you need to do. I was like, oh God, okay, but I need to do something. I'll figure it out. I'll get this and then figure it out. So I went back to the DIY store and to buy it, and then I noticed that the door was missing. I got so lucky on this. I noticed that the door on the composter was missing. So I sort of went to them and said, where's the door? I need the door. I still want to buy it, even if it doesn't have a door. I don't need the door. By the way, I don't need the door. I actually don't want the door. But I go there and go, look, I can buy it. I'm really dodgy. I can buy it, but it's missing the door. Have you got the door? So they're looking for the door. They're like, yeah, we've got the door somewhere. And I'm like going, oh God, I feel guilty now. I don't need them to look for hours for the door. If they've got the door, then there's nothing I can do. But they kept on looking. No, we can't find it. Oh, so eventually they went, no, we can't find it. And I said, well, I'll still buy it anyway. They've got no clue what I'm going to do with it. I'll still buy it anyway, but maybe you can give me a little bit of discount. They gave me 50% off. Fantastic. I don't need the door. So I really got away with that one. That was just fantastic. So and it's just the perfect shape. So I get back. I can now start figuring out. I figure out how to sort of paint it, and I just have to use sort of spray paint and everything. There's some special sort of paint. I sort of start spraying it. I'm like scared. I'm doing it outside. I'm scared that the whole garden's going to be covered in white spray, but it was okay. So I had to put like 5 layers on it. So it did take a lot of paint to get there, but I managed to get it white, and it looked perfect. Then I'm like, okay, right. So I've got a white paper cup. Now I've got to get the stickers on there and everything. I came up with a mock-up, and I'll show you the mock-up that I sent them on one side. And this is what it turned out like. So not bad. It actually came out. So that panic that I all had and wanting to make it really look professional, I think it did look professional. I think it really looked professional. If you look close, one of the problems I had was because the surface isn't perfectly smooth, so the vinyl doesn't stick perfectly. So it was coming up a bit. So I was like in panic mode, like, oh, these are all the stickers, the stickers going to come off. I used the Cricut for making all the stickers and the labels, and everything worked out really well. I think the color design, everything is perfect, but the vinyl didn't stick as perfectly as I'd hoped. So I sort of was really panicked, but in the end, it did hold together through me putting sort of a lacquer on top and everything, and gluing bits down. And suddenly I'm melting bits of the plastic as well, because I'm using such sort of aggressive glue. It was actually the wrong type of glue. So if you look closely, there's a couple of sort of melted areas, but it worked out really well. So I've got the giant paper cup. The slogans were fantastic. So I came up with the slogans myself. The baker in the Afal Bug, we sort of came up that together, the cup in the container. So that was our idea. And then I also came up with the slogan of enjoy the race, care for the course. And I think that's a really good slogan that sort of fitted in well. To the point they actually used it as well for their newsletter. So they surprised me, and I ended up in their newsletter for the final information for the runners. Look out for this guy running. This is what he's going to be using. This is the message we're trying to promote. The enjoy the race, care for the course message. And I think it just worked out perfectly. So yeah, it really was a collab. It wasn't me coming with a it wasn't me given a remit. This is what you need to do. This was us really working together to come up with something. So the slogans and everything was sort of fantastic. This is going to be a long episode, I know, but hopefully you're going to enjoy it. So then we move on to the equipment. I sort of said to them, I said, look, okay, I'm going to be doing this. We're not going to use a banana suit. It makes sense because we're focusing on the message and the race rather than on me, on Way of Life. I did get my sort of Way of Life sort of logo in there, but that's all I really cared about. It's a real full-on collab with them to drive the message through. I said, okay, well, we'll do that, but if we do this, then let's make sure. So my idea was, let's get the sponsors involved. There's On running shoes, Stocks, socks as well, Garmin were there. I said, look, it's a bit daft if I do this without having all of their equipment on. I've got a Garmin watch, so I don't need a Garmin watch, but maybe you can sort of sort out the running shoes, or we can get On to sort of provide the running shoes, and Stocks to provide the socks, sort of the compression socks that they have, which are really good. Really enjoyed those. Suddenly I get this package. Yeah, we've all sorted it out. So I get these running shoes and shorts from On. I've got the race day shirt from Dam to Dam, the organisation itself, and I've got the socks as well. Perfect. I get this box arrived from On. I'm like going, okay, I'm wondering what they're going to give me, what shoes. I just said, this is my size. It was up to them what they sent me. And I sort of opened up and I've got these carbon shoes, these sort of €300 race day shoes. I'm like, oh, I'm just like so torn. I'm like, these are such great shoes. They are really great shoes, but it's completely wasted on me. I'll be doing 7 minute per kilometer. I've got a huge weight on my back. So I'm going to be running completely in the wrong way for these shoes. But so I was like really torn. So I've actually said for Amsterdam Marathon, I said, I don't want carbon shoes. I need just regular shoes. But yeah, fantastic race day shoes. So the Cloud Boom Strike, love them. Hopefully I can still use them for another race because, I really enjoyed them. So got these shoes, got the socks and everything all sorted out. Everything's fantastic. I'm all ready for race day. We decided that I'd do a collab post with Le Champion, so we'd do it with Dam to Dam. So we had a collab post beforehand, which was suddenly I'm on Dam to Dam's Instagram account. I'm loving that. I'm like, awesome. And in fact, I'll just mention it now. So it was only meant to be some a collab post beforehand, stories during the day, and I would do a post afterwards. But they loved the story afterward, the reels afterwards, that they also did that as a collab as well. So in effect, I was on there twice, which is, I think that is a reflection of how successful this collab was, and I'm really grateful to the organisation. So let's move on to race day. So how did it go? I'm a bit nervous because it's rainy. I'm like going, is everything going to wash off? I'm like, what is the state of the bin going to be like? Or is the state of the giant paper cup going to be like afterwards? But yeah, we got to the race, and I met a few people beforehand, had a great time. I'm going to show the reels now that I did while I'm just talking. So this is the reels of the whole day, but the first lap went super well. I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this is amazing. The bands that were there were incredible. Everything was just so fantastic. I loved it. I just finished the race and I was on a real high. I was running it with another person. Sort of towards the end, I ran it with a lady who also had a sort of a 360 camera. We're just chatting. Oh no, she was on the second lap. Anyway, so the first run went really, really well. I loved it. I was just, I'm all ready now to do the second one. So I then jog. I'm like in my race gear, get my medal, and then I'm jogging through the streets of Zaandam to the train station to get on, and then go back to run it again. And that's when I think I first met during that time afterwards, I met the first few people that went, yeah, we're doing it twice as well. I didn't realize how many people run this race twice. I was incredible. It was like so many people do it. They do it, and what a lot of them do is they do it once with the business, the sort of the company they work for, and then next time they do it on their own. Sort of just fantastic. amazing. The train was really easy. It felt super cool to sit on there with this giant bin. Oh, with the giant bin. So at the water stations, I did the first water station. I'll show you sort of a longer footage now. I really stayed there with the first for the first time. Really had a sort of a great engagement. Really loved it, and it was just great collecting all of these cups, and people were throwing during the race as well. They were just sort of throwing it in there. I had someone throw at the very beginning before I even started. They were using it as a bin, which is the whole intent. The idea was that I would just empty it and then go and do the second lap. I looked in the bin after the first one, and I realized actually there is trash in there, but it's not that heavy and there's not that much. It's all paper cups and everything. I put drainage holes and everything. So I was like going, I think it'd be cooler for me to actually just keep it going. So I didn't empty it in the end. I started the second lap with the same trash that I picked up on the first lap. And I was like thinking, okay, if it's full at the end, then that's perfect. If it's not, then I can see exactly what I've collected. So it was around, in the end, just as a reference point, I think I got around 120 litres of paper cups and things throughout the day, including the boat journey afterwards. More on that in a second. What was amazing was the organisation then had offered me to do the start gun. So for the second lap, I got back there and they said, just come straight to the VIP tent. So I just went straight to the VIP tent. I'm like, yes, I'm in the VIP tent. It was empty. The VIP tent was empty apart from a couple of people. So there was no media, no celebrities or anything like that. It was literally just me in there with the organisation, with a couple of other people. And there was a TV crew as well. So I was like, okay, well, that's a bit of a disappointment. But then I was like, I got free coffee and I got a toilet nearby. I don't have to go to all what the other people were using for toilets. I was just like, there's this one just outside that was just perfect. So I just, that was worth it just for the toilet. And then the start gun came. So sort of speak about as a friend of mine. Yeah, Bet, I think we're friends now. We've been following each other and we sort of have these chats. He supported me on the Tile of Staden plog, so a really great guy. You'll often see him there at these events, just doing sort of the commentary and sort of the master, the master of MC, the master of ceremonies stuff. And he was doing there with the start gun, just sort of hyping up the crowd from the stand. So he said, right, you need to be up here at this time. The person before me, a lovely woman, she did the starter gun for the time slot before mine, and she was all there, and they said, right, okay, this is what you need to do. So she's just standing there with the start gun, and they said, right, let's do the countdown. So they're doing a countdown from 30. Straight away it goes off. The organisation in complete disarray. They were just standing around 30 seconds to go. Suddenly everyone's running down the road. It's all kicked off 30 seconds beforehand. And she's like, oh, like this. The organisation were like, first, after paddock, they're like, did she do that for Instagram views and likes? Or did she do it by mistake? So they were like, well, what's going on here? But then they were super nervous for me because I'm like in the starter. I mean, I have to go up these sort of rickety stairs on this sort of construction, like a tree hut type thing, to do the starter's gun from, with a giant paper cup. I said, I'm coming up here. Yeah, it's all about the message. It's not about me starting it. It's about the guy with the paper cup on his back starting it. So they did. Bert was really cool, and he let me talk about my mission. And I said, it's not about me, it's about the mission. So we talked about the mission.
Ik heb hier naast me staan Waye, die heeft een website Way of Life, die doet hele mooie dingen met zwerfafval. En als we de muziek steeds terug willen draaien, dan kunnen we Paul vragen wat het doel van vandaag is. Waarom heb je die grote emmer op je rug om dingen te verzamelen? Paul, vertel het eens. Jij hebt de microfoon.
Ja, ik heb een duidelijke boodschap is geniet van de race, maar stop met de parcours. Het is as simpel as je beker in de afvalbak. Dus als je een papierbeker hebt, doe direct in de afvalbak of liever in mijn bak. Dus als je ziet op parcours, came with de groetjes en zorgde we hebben een mooi gebied na de wedstrijd. Geniet van de wedstrijd iedereen.
Kijk, Paul, we gaan zo verder van. Ja, dat is Paul het hele jaar met deze Paul. En Paul Waye gaat zo dadelijk het startsignaal geven. Paul Waye, volg hem ook op alle sociale media. Way of Life.
But they were super nervous about me doing it early. And I was super nervous. It's like a real hair trigger as well. I was like, oh, oh, it has to go off right. But I nailed it. I did nail it. I just got that timing perfect. Yeah, I did that. That was just so fantastic. That was a real highlight, just doing the starter's gun. Amazing. And then I had to run down the steps, and then they let me in to join the rest of the runners. But as I said, it was so well organized in terms of just letting people through sort of slowly and making sure that there was room for everyone. So straight away I was in my stride on the second lap. Awesome. The shoes were amazing. Yeah, they weren't the best shoes to run in, but yeah, I still could run a decent pace with the cup and everything. So I never had a problem. The race course was just wonderful. We had some rain every now and then, but it was okay. I could sort of get enough filming done and just sort of motivate it, and again stopping at every place I could. The highlight happened on the second lap, and that was, and I'll show the film of it now, which was just a kid. There were two kids. As I was at one water station just trying to motivate the crowds, the two kids were going, oh, let's just pick up one of the paper cups on the ground and bin it. So they were talking for ages before one of them braved up the courage to come along and then just sort of pick up a paper cup and slam dunk it in my giant paper cup. That was a highlight. I'm so glad that I was recording at the time because it was just so wonderful. That was just brilliant. I loved that. That was the real highlight, having that kid come and do that. And then, the race itself was fantastic. People, you could see the crowds. A lot of the time, because they're there watching people, they would come and go. Crowds would come and go. But quite a few people went, didn't I see you run that earlier? They're like, sort of look, their baffled faces as I was sort of running past. Got to high five people loads of times, twice. DJ Fly, a sponsor of mine, he had near the end, he had his bus set up that he has his DJ booth from. So managed to high five him twice. That was such a highlight as well, and finished the race and did it, and then going up to get my second medal. They're like going, "You've already got a medal around your lap." Yeah, around your neck. Yep, I'm here for my second. So what a great event. It was just so fantastic. It turned out to be such a success story, and I loved every moment of it. But it hasn't finished yet, because now I've got to get home. What I did was on running through Indie Runner, I think it was through Indie Runner, they had a party boat that you could just sort of register for free. So anyone could do this. It wasn't because I did this collab. So anyone could register for free. And Brendan from the Harlem Hobblers, he told us about it. And so I sort of registered for it. And so I finished my race, and I had sort of half an hour to get all my gear and then head back to the start line to get this boat. So I made it just in time, but that was a bit of oh, damn it, this is taking too long. I don't really want to run, but I was having to sort of just go quickly. There was a moment where people were throwing people were given AA energy drink bottles at the end. And of course they got a deposit on them. So there were people just through the exit were just collecting bottles. And so people were drinking them and then throwing them in my paper cup. So I had quite a few of these bottles, and there was one kid there with a paper bag, sort of a plastic bag, sort of trying to collect as many as he could. And I just took off my bin and went, "How about these?" And it was his eyes were popping open. It was like, "Oh my God, that's so fantastic!" So that was great. Then we went back on the boat, and I talked about a couple of highlights, but this was a real highlight. I mean, I've literally just run. This comes back to the whole idea behind this was because what I wanted to do, so I mentioned doing it in the race suit. So this was the Sunfort Sequilo run, when I sort of got this idea of the bin on my back and sort of picking up trash, because I was dressed in a racing driver, Formula One racing driver's outfit with a giant bin on my back and a grabber. And I was running along picking up gels and sort of putting them in the bin. Oh, no. I had oh, sorry. No, I've got it wrong. I didn't have the idea for the bin. The bin came as a result of it, but I had a ring with, to collect trash in. So a ring with a bag to collect trash in. I'll show it on the screen now, and a grabber. And I was running along picking up trash. And what was happening, and this is where the whole idea came from for doing this kind of thing, is that people were throwing their gels in my waste bag. And I was like, and that's not the idea. The idea is I'm picking up the ones on the ground, not that people are just having their gel and throwing it in my bag. I was half of me was like, oh, at least it's not going on the ground. The other half of me was like going, dudes, I'm running this race as well. Why are you giving me your wrapper? You do something with it. I wasn't sure how to sort of think about it. I was like positive and negative. I was like, dudes, I'm doing the same race as you. Why are you giving me your trash? But that gave me the idea of all of this. And so I'm on this boat. So we're on this party boat, and I take to get to the party boat. People keep on throwing trash in my bin. They see a bin, they're just putting it in. I can't be mad. I'm like, this is brought on myself through my own idea. So I'm getting to the boat and met Brendan. He was also there on the boat, and so we're having a beer. And I just put my rucksack, my giant paper cup on the ground, and it looks in the middle of this boat, and people are just throwing their trash in it. They're just assuming it's a bin. I'm like, I've now got to get rid of this. Why don't you just put it in the bins over on the side? Although they were a bit quite hidden, but there were bins on the side. So I was like, this is what it is. This makes it even more special. I kind of loved the fact that they were doing it. And I think half the trash I collected was actually from the boat. They're finishing their beers and then throwing their cups in there. So that made it even more eventful. Loved it. Loved this collab. What an amazing day. I've got a few more things that I just want to sort of just say about it. Well, the first off is, this doesn't end now. We've got another collab with Amsterdam Marathon. So the same organisation, the Champion. I'm just organising it now. And the idea there was to be focusing on gels. As I said, I was going to make a giant gel wrapper, and then people could throw their gels in there. But the paper cup is so visually striking and so perfect, and it's easy-ish to run with, that I said, let's just continue with this. So we're doing that, and we're making a bit more broad as well. So now they know what I can do, and now that I know what they're after, we're really working together and we've even changed plans this morning about what we're going to be doing on the side, what the sort of the logos and things are going to be on it. So I need to respray it, get the logos off that are on there currently, and then put some new ones on there. So I'm really excited for that. And one of the great things about this is I've got a podium as well this time. I said to them, for this one, let's not just make it about one day, let's make it about the expo as well. The idea is we want to encourage runners to be more responsible with the trash that they've got. There's a post that I saw. I'm not sure if I've got it linked. I'll try and link it here, from Berlin Marathon, where you could see that there are just hundreds and hundreds of plastic cups that are on the ground by the water station that you're crunching, walking through. And half the comments are like, why are they using single-use plastic like this? Especially when Berlin Marathon had sort of water fountains, reusable cup ideas. So I'm sure they've investigated more on that in a second. But one of the things, I think what they decided was it was better to have single-source plastic cups than paper cups with a plastic coating on them. It's easier to process. There's always a compromise. I don't know. I'm not going to sort of say whether that was the right thing or a wrong thing. I will comment on what my discussions are with the Champion, why they use paper cups with a plastic lining on them. So I will talk about that in a second. But when you look at the comments on that post for Berlin Marathon, you can see half of them were like aghast that they're using plastic cups. The other half of them were like were saying, I'm running for a PB, I'm going to throw it on the ground. my focus is on a PB. I'm not going to waste seconds refilling a reusable cup to do it. I'm here for a race day. So I'm not going to be against them on that. I think if we can do it within a designated area, as long as you drop it within that designated area and you drop it sensibly, you don't throw it sort of in a really weird place that will never be found. Then I think, okay, that's what we have to do. We have to come up with some solution that have got the choice. And I don't think it's one solution. I think if people want to run PBs and they sort of do it and they have to have these single-use cups, okay, let's make an option though on the other side of the road that is for people that do want to do it, that are quite willing to sacrifice 5 seconds at a water station to fill up a cup and a reusable cup and do it that way. Let's have both options. I think that's the only way it's going to work, is if you have all the options available. I'm rambling now, aren't I? What was clear there is there's a behavior that we need to change. So runners need to change their behavior, and that comes back to my slogan: enjoy the race, care for the course. So just be more responsible in what you're doing. If that costs you 1 second on a PB or even 5 seconds on a PB, I think that needs to be done. If you do a trail race, if you do a triathlon race, they're also going for PBs. They're racing for PBs, but they are having to abide by the rules that they've got, because they get penalized if they don't. I think we as runners, I'm including myself in this as well. We as runners need to change our behavior, but organizations need to change their behavior. So coming on to one of the reasons why I was super glad about this is it gives me a chance to speak to the organization. And I said to them, look, I am doing this collab with you about paper cups. People are going to ask me, but those paper cups have plastic linings. People are going to ask me, but why use paper cups at all? Why not come up with a different solution? So I sort of started having conversations with them about this. And you've got to, one of the things that I can see from the champion, and I'm sure this is true of every organization, no matter how bad the decisions they make or how good the decisions they make are, they are concerned about this as well. They're not just, or the people that I speak to are trying to make it the most environmentally sound race while being viable as an organization to put on a race. So runners have a responsibility here, but also the organization. So I now know, for instance, the paper cups that they use, they've chosen paper cups because the other solutions they've got they don't find them viable enough to adopt yet. I think hopefully I can sort of encourage them to say, okay, well, let's not go all in on this. Let's make it an option for people to fill up on one side. They can say, if you want to fill up your reusable cup, this is where you can do it. On this side is for the people that want to continue to use single use. Let's do it that way. One of the things I did find out, one of the things I found out with the paper cups is that they actually use less plastic, because they don't need to last so long. They use less plastic than a normal paper cup that you would see in Starbucks and things like that. So they are definitely a lot less environmentally impactful, but they still are impactful. One of the things, but then also the organization told me, look, as much as we'd love to process, we can't process them correctly if they just throw everything in the same bin. If this bin says paper cups, throw paper cups in there. Don't throw your banana peels in there, because that has an impact in what they can do with it afterwards. So organizations, and hopefully this will sort of show through in the Amsterdam Marathon that I'll be doing, we'll be looking at sponges, we'll be looking at gels, we'll be looking at paper cups and everything. It's all about sort of making sure that we as runners do the best that we can, without having to sacrifice too much time or any time, and to make it more viable. Even just throwing that cup on the ground in the water station is so much better than throwing it a kilometre later, because there's a chance it won't get picked up. And with gel wrappers, The gel wrappers, which has been a bugbear of mine as well. Every time I pick up a gel wrapper on the roads when I'm going around plogging, it breaks my heart. I'm kind of going, that's a fellow runner or a fellow sports person that's got a gel, sort of an energy drink or energy gel. They've taken it out and they just dropped it. They're just littering the place. I'm going, no, that's my family that's doing that. We really need to sort of encourage it. Well, this has gone on a bit, hasn't it? This has been a long one. Hopefully, with all the visuals and everything, you see it's a bit more than a podcast. It's more of a vlog, but I wanted to keep it in the podcast area. Hopefully, you've enjoyed it, and it gives you some idea of what happened with that collab I just did. If you saw the collab, then you know a little bit more information about it. I'm so excited about the Amsterdam Marathon one. It's only in 10 days' time. I need to start painting the paper cup. I'm so behind. But I'll get that done this week. And I'm really excited to sort of see, the podium. I didn't mention the podium. So one of the great things about Amsterdam Marathon is I'm doing more than just the race. The 3 days before, I'll be at the expo for the whole time, encouraging runners to change their behaviors. I'll be going there with my cup, my giant cup on my back, with the message on it saying, look, if you see me on the course, throw your trash in here. And just make the use of it. This is a bin for you to use. And there's also a podium where I'll be able to give speeches as well. So they're really, for the 50th edition anniversary of the event, they moved the location of the expo as a podium for speakers. And I think it's going to be a lot more exciting this year. So if you are running, definitely check out the program, because I think it's going to be definitely worthwhile sort of trying, instead of just picking up your number, see when the speakers are. There might be a speaker that really connects with what you want to sort of know about. It doesn't have to be about me speaking, but if you want to come along, I'll keep you posted on my channels, especially on Instagram, about when I'll be speaking, what I'll be doing. But either way, throughout the whole of the expo, I will be there at some point. So look out for me. You'll be able to find me. I'll be there. Definitely a more positive message podcast than the last one. This is, hopefully you can see in my face and my voice that this just brings me joy. This is Dam to Dam was such a joy, and I'm so excited for Amsterdam Marathon and the idea of perhaps doing this at other events. If you're a race director, if you know the organization for another race, maybe we can work together. I will be asking money, but we can make something that's really exciting together. Let's actually do this. Let's turn this into something that changes the behavior of runners. We are runners. We need to enjoy the race, but we need to care for the course. I think that's the most important message that I can say in terms of the running community. Let's preserve the places where we love to run and the races we love to run. Let's preserve them. Remember, the people picking up behind you, they're volunteers. They're not paid. They're volunteers. I think that really says everything. My name is Paul. This is my way of life. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Speak to you in the next one.